With China Airlines facing major delays in their new Dreamliner deliveries, the retirement of older planes has been postponed. That means some of their older aircraft are getting an extended lease on life, and today we get to fly one of them. In this video, join me on a short regional hop from Seoul to Taipei aboard their 21-year-old Airbus A330. Hi there, my name is Earl and welcome back to Biyahe Manes. From Iwo Women's University Station, we took the subway to Hongik University Station where we'll be catching the AREX all-stop train to Incheon Airport Terminal 2. The cheapest, but definitely not the fastest way to get to the airport. Pro tip: if you have the climate card, your one-way train ride to the airport is basically free, as long as your travel time is still within the card's validity. Just note that this only works for the all-stop train and not the express one. Each car has limited luggage storage and there's a handy display showing real-time flight information. Compared to Terminal 1, the walk from the train station to the check-in area here at Terminal 2 is much shorter. It's directly connected to the basement level of the terminal. And just in case you haven't had enough of Korean skincare, there's an Olive Young store right before you head up to check-in. We arrived early, so I had time to explore the terminal. This is actually my first time flying out of Terminal 2, and right away, I could tell the difference. It's bigger, brighter, and more modern compared to Terminal 1. It follows the same design language, but pops of color, some greenery and art installations break up the otherwise gray and muted tones of the airport. Tax refund kiosks can be found right behind the check-in counters, and one thing I really appreciate about Incheon Airport is how much they think about passenger convenience. A good example of that is the baggage scale built directly into the floor. It's such a small but clever touch. To our surprise, there were already long lines at check-in even before the counters opened. But right on schedule, exactly 5 minutes before the promised time of 2 hours before departure, check-in finally commenced, starting with the polite bow from the ground staff. The lines moved quickly and we were all done in under 20 minutes.
Numbers 252 from 1215. So this is your
Terminal 2 was clearly designed with passenger flow in mind. These massive LED screens aren't just for show. They actually serve as visual guides because right below them are the entrances to security and immigration. This time, however, the lines were quite long, and it took us about 35 minutes before we finally reached airside. After clearing security, there are plenty of cafes and restaurants to choose from. But for this trip, we're visiting the Matina Lounge located on the 4th level. Now, if you've looked this up online, you'll notice some confusion because there are actually 2 Matina Lounges here. There's the Matina Gold Lounge, which is accessible via select Korean credit cards or for a fee, and the regular Matina Walker Hill Lounge, which accepts Priority Pass, Lounge Key, and Dragon Pass members. We'll be visiting the regular one for this video. There was already a queue when we arrived, and we had to wait a bit before being allowed in. Just like in Terminal 1, the lounge was crowded, though this one is definitely bigger. There are several seating and dining areas for families, couples, or solo travelers, but they tend to fill up quickly, especially during lunch and dinner hours. And while Matina Lounge may not be known for peace and quiet, it certainly makes up for it with its food selection. There's a salad and dessert station, several hot dishes in the buffet, a tteokbokki station, and the highlight for me, a bibimbap bar where you can customize your own bowl of Korea's signature dish. Multiple drink options are also available, including soda, coffee, and even the traditional Korean rice drink, shikye. And of course, it wouldn't be a Korean lounge without instant ramyun noodles. It's almost boarding time, so let's now head to the gate. If you're new to the channel, my name is Earl and welcome to Biyahe. I do trip reports and airport lounge tours. So if you love aviation content, please consider subscribing. Our aircraft for today is a 21-year-old Airbus A330-300 registered Bravo 18301. Boarding began by zone numbers. Welcome on board China Airlines flight CI161 bound for Taipei. Economy class is arranged in a 242 configuration and my seat for today is 35A. Here's a closer look at the earphones provided at the boarding bridge. Shortly after, the cabin crew distributed pillows and blankets. The pillowcase felt similar to the scratchy disposable kind used on PAL flights, but the blanket was of good quality. Legroom was quite generous, and the padding on this older seat was comfortable. In the seat back pocket, you'll find the safety card, the Sky Boutique duty-free magazine, and another e-mall shopping catalog. The tray table is wide and slides back and forth, though it doesn't fold in half. On the leftmost corner, there's a coat hook, a vanity mirror, and the touchscreen TV, which, while outdated, still allows you to adjust brightness and tilt up to your preferred viewing angle. You'll also find a small bottle holder beside it. Embedded in the armrest is a remote control for the TV and call buttons, although mine wasn't working. Unfortunately, there are no power sockets or personal air vents on this aircraft. Finally, the headrest is adjustable. You can move it up and down and fold the sides inward for extra comfort.
Welcome aboard China Airlines.
各位贵宾，根据法令规定，在飞行途中会发生电波干扰的个人电子用品，全程禁用。现在，请您确认已经关闭电源。
Dear passengers, according to CAA regulations, all transmitting devices must not be used during the flight. Please switch them off right now.
有关行动电话以及。
cabin crew complete departure.
Just 10 minutes after takeoff, the cabin crew began lunch service, probably one of the fastest I've seen on any flight. For lunch, we opted for the beef bibimbap. The tray came with fresh fruits, banchan, a cup of water, metal cutlery, a bread roll with butter on the side, and a market o brownie for dessert. There was also a tube of gochujang paste for mixing with the bibimbap. The serving was generous, though the taste was fairly average. A few minutes later, the crew came around with coffee and tea, and surprisingly, the coffee was really good for this flight. Unfortunately, juice or soft drinks weren't offered on this flight. Now, let's check out China Airlines Inflight Entertainment. Despite the older setup, the touchscreen was responsive with just a slight delay. The selection was diverse, featuring a mix of new and classic films, both Hollywood and Asian titles. Definitely more than enough for this 2.5-hour flight. There's also a music library with albums from Filipino artists like Ben and Ben and Beanie. I also explored the in-flight map, and although it looked dated, it surprisingly offered different viewing angles and was quite informative overall. Let's explore the lavatory on this A330. Inside, you'll find a standard sink, napkins, hand wash and lotion provided by the brand Moroccan Oil, the toilet, and a coat hook. We've started our descent into Taipei, so let me conclude this trip report with China Airlines. Our journey began at Hongik University Station, where we took the AREX all-stop train to Incheon Airport. The direct connection to Terminal 2 was much more convenient than Terminal 1. Check-in was smooth but only opened 2 hours before departures, so expect long lines even if you arrive early. Security and immigration took about 35 minutes to clear. Once airside, we visited the Matina Walker Hill Lounge. And just remember, there are 2 Matina Lounges here, but only this one accepts Priority Pass. The Matina Gold Lounge is the more exclusive one. The lounge was expansive but crowded, especially during mealtimes. Food options were extensive, with the make-your-own bibimbap station being the highlight for us. Once on board, the cabin looked dated, but as with many older aircraft, the seats were plush and legroom was generous. Lunch service was efficient, and while the bibimbap was just okay, the coffee was surprisingly good. The IFE system, though clearly aged, was functional with a good mix of content for a short regional flight. Overall, it was a comfortable and pleasant flight with China Airlines. As for the ticket prices, a one-way journey could cost $196, while a round-trip ticket could cost around $318. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip report. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like and consider sharing this video with your family and friends. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this China Airlines trip report in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell buttons so you stay updated and never miss out on future content. I look forward to having you again in my next video. Welcome back to Taipei. Cheers.